The Secretary for Tourism and Transportation, Assemblyman Tracy Davidson Celestine, and the Secretary in the Division of Agriculture, Marine Affairs, Marketing and the Environment, Assemblyman Godwin Adams, reported to the media this week at Post-Executive Council media briefing.
We are seeking to develop markets that could give us, our farmers, an opportunity, farmers and processors, an opportunity to be a part of this experience of achieving food security for Tobago. In saying so, we were in talks with the Secretary of the Division of Health and Social Services and the Tobago Regional Health Authority as it relates to supply of the necessary foodstuff. It means that we are going to talk about vegetable and root crops. Those talks had started, and we would have had one on Tuesday, the 8th of July, which is yesterday, and some fruitful outcomes were gathered coming out of that that meeting. And I am really, I should not be surprised, but I'm really enthused at the fact that the Tobago Regional Health Authority has a food bill that Tobagonians can, Tobago farmers and processors can buy into. Now, there are a quantity of food crops that can be accessed, that the Tobago farmers can sell to the Tobago Regional Health Authority. And let me just give you some of the areas that came out, that were mentioned at that meeting. We have dashing leaves. We're talking to some 5,000 bundles of dashing leaves on an annual basis. Sweet potatoes, 1,600 kilograms. Pumpkin, 9,000 kilograms. Cabbage, 21,000 kilograms. All seasonings, 25,000 bundles. Okras, 11,000. Plantains, 1,560 kilograms. Sweet peppers, 3,000 kilograms. Flavored pepper, some 78,000 sweet peppers, where you're talking about singles then, in that respect. And we would have had the Tobago Farmers Cooperative Society together with the Farmers Association joining together at a meeting to discuss how we can make this situation something worthwhile for the farmers and to put some predictability into the exercise. Because it's important that we don't just jump into a situation and in the next few weeks or months you're just out of it. Now the division is, with all its expertise, will ensure that we have this exercise streamlined in such a way that predictability can be realized. I have good faith in our producers in Tobago and also in our processors, and will really take up that challenge. And not only with the TRHA, but with other in other areas, such as the supermarkets and the hotels, restaurants. I must congratulate the division in officers of the division in really getting things organized, arranged in such a way that we can have farmers getting the best shot at this exercise, at this initiative. So that is only one area that, as I said, that we will try to have the farmers involved in. We are working towards ensuring that the farmers, producers, get an equally good chance at the external markets, be it in Trinidad, be it up the Eastern Caribbean, internationally, outside of the Caribbean. There are possibilities that we can achieve this goal of one, food security for Tobago, and on the other hand, having the farmers a very good chance of developing themselves in the industry. In saying this, one key factor in this whole food security for Tobago is that tissue culture laboratory out at Gordonsboro. Now, I would have spoken to that in this forum already. However, due to the demands that we want to place on the farmers and the demands that will come back from the farmers, we expect that the tissue culture laboratory will play a greater role in the supply of clean plant material. And we want to expand on the tissue culture laboratory. And one area that we're going to be looking into very quickly is the area of storage. And we are going to put in an additional 40 by 30 greenhouse facility, so as to have additional storage for plants, plant materials. And I want to give some information to the public as to cost of per plant, per plantlet. We have dashing plantlets at $2 each. We have banana and plantain at a cost of $5. We also have yams at a cost of $5 plant, and Edos and Tania at $2 per plant. So the original capacity of the tissue culture lab would have been over 100,000 plants annually. However, with the increase in storage spaces within the laboratory, we can realize up to 150,000 plants in any one calendar year. There would be setbacks or challenges along the way. However, we hope that everything runs smoothly so that our farmers can get the desired plant material to do their farming. We at the division, as I would have expressed earlier, geared towards ensuring that all the technical and and financial support in the form of incentives be offered to the farmers. I will get the booklet on all the incentives so that you all can be privy to some of the incentives that are available to farmers. I must also express that these incentives can only be accessed if you are a bona fide farmer. You have to obtain your farmer's badge, and your extension officer, the extension officer in that specific area that you are doing your cultivation, will approve these incentives. So that's it for the packing house. The tissue culture laboratory. Let me also say, in the quest to also have the cooperatives, the farmers, have the quality materials for sale. We have the packing house that it's going to be should be on stream in September. We have now we have since have the procurement of the necessary chain, the food chain, where you have the different lines of assembly lines, where you have the food stuff being placed onto and moved around in a more in a better way, so that the people who are the workers who are at that facility can have an opportunity to produce in greater quantity. They will do selection of the raw material, and that packing house will be at temperatures that can afford a longer shelf life to produce. We want to ensure that when this packing house is on stream, as a matter of fact, we started conversation with all the major stakeholders. The final leg of this exercise where we will bring all the major stakeholders together, because we would have been with the wholesalers, we would have been with the restaurant owners, the supermarkets, we have the processors, we would have been with in conversation, bringing them in one place to talk to the packing house and its operation and how they can benefit from this packing house. And if we are going to do international or regional trade, it's important that the packing house come into focus, because to certify, the packing house will be a certified packing house, which is going to be checked and approved for the work that it is geared towards doing, right? So farmers, processors, the cooperatives, all the various people in the agricultural industry, I want to ask that you come on board, and you come on board with us, and we will assist in steering the ship of agriculture to a proper destination. So I also want to talk to the area of forestry in our Comprehensive Economic Development Plan, CDP 2.0. They give credence to the environment. And that was brought into the context of the environment being a major or being an integral part of our tourism trust on the island. Because, you know, we have the, we would have won a lot of contests in that field, and we want to keep the island in its pristine manner. And in saying so, the environmental department has a major role to play. And one area that that department is going to be involving in the next month or so is the sales of trees, tree plants then. We're going to have plants ranging from mahogany, cedar, sip, pui. And as I talked to Pui, the Secretary of Health and Social Services, who is directly responsible for the CPEP department, we are in conversation so as to have Pui, the CPEP workers, be a part of the whole environmental trust.
There are quite a lot of sites, historical sites and attractions that we aim to upgrade and also to look at in the upcoming fiscal period. And out of this, we anticipate the start of establishing business relationships in the South American and Latin American market. Some time ago, I would have indicated to you that the team from the Division of Tourism and Transportation, including stakeholders, would have journeyed to Brazil to be a part of the world travel market and to have exploratory studies and also discussions with business partners there with a view to Destination Tobago moving into that market and targeting the Brazilians, the Latin Americans, and the South American. To date, we have received a proposal from a South American airline that we are currently reviewing, and you will hear more about that proposal. And we are also currently working on engaging representatives who will work in that or those markets with a view to attracting visitors from those shores. Currently, there are direct flights from those markets to Trinidad, and we are hoping that we can also have our own direct flight directly to Tobago, being the tourist island in Trinidad and Tobago. And the point is that talks are continuing. As I said, we have received the proposal, and we will be soon engaging a representative who will work hand in hand with the division to ensure that we target that market. I think one of the things that we'd have to start doing is ensuring that there is wider access to the language of Spanish. We know that, and even Portuguese, because we know that that market, their main language is Portuguese and Spanish, and we want to ensure that the people who will interact with them have that capacity to speak that language as well. We also anticipate that there will be the start of the implementation of the Hospitality Assured program. We have been talking about ensuring that there are standards within the properties that currently cater to tourists on the island. The Tobago Hospitality and Tourism Institute has the mandate to ensure that the hospitality program is rolled out on the island. Currently, there are representatives on the board who are also a part of the Tobago Hotel and Tourism Association, and they will be working hand in hand with THTI to ensure that at least the first phase of that program can be rolled out which will signal to our visitors, domestic and otherwise, that there is a measure, a standard, or even confidence in terms of hospitality at our accommodation and even our restaurants, so to speak. We also anticipate that there will be zipline technology implemented at Bloody Bay Rainforest. And what we are hoping to do is to add new attractions to the destination currently. Of course, Tobago can easily be described as a mature destination. And one of the things that we have to continuously do is to reinvent the wheel, to add new sites and attractions, to upgrade, so to speak. And that is why we would have taken on the recent refurbishment or upgrades to the Pigeon Point Beach facility. And now we're looking to see what other new attractions we can add to the destination. And the zipline technology is one of those. There would have been an assessment done about a month ago by a company, and they have to date recommended Bloody Bay as one of those facilities. But of course, it requires more discussion with the Division of Agriculture, Marine Affairs, and the Environment. We anticipate that that will add a new spin to eco-tourism on the island, and of course will open up more eco-tourism business for the destination as we speak. I also want to add that the Comprehensive Economic Development Plan speaks to adding more rooms to the destination. Currently, there are about 1,500 rooms on the island. And one of our biggest challenges is the room product. It is not wide enough. It is not diverse enough. There are not enough 4- and 5-star properties on the island. And the Tobago House of Assembly has been listening to those concerns from the airlines, concerns from the stakeholders, and we are looking to see how we can at least make a dent in this area. And there are some discussions that we are currently having. Those discussions are very fruitful, and of course you will hear more in terms of how the Tobago House of Assembly proposes to treat with the addition of room stock on the island. I also want to mention some of the highlights that would have come out from the budget in terms of the achievement for the last fiscal period and some comparisons that were made. And I want to re-emphasize the point that I made in terms of passengers to the destination. And in my budget speech, I indicated that for the first time in the history, Tobago welcomed 1,01,752 passengers to our shores, which surpassed many of our competitors, including islands such as St. Lucia, which had 952,390 visitors. And I'm reiterating the point that I mentioned 1,001,752 passengers to destination Tobago. So I want to re-emphasize that point as much as possible in terms, and this of course, the summary of this, total passenger arrivals in 2013 increased by over 4.4% when compared to 2012. From January to April 2014, total arrivals increased by 6% over the same period in 2013. I also want to make the point that domestic arrivals by air in 2013 increased by 13.4% over 2013. And from January to April 2014, total international arrivals by air increased by 13.03% over the same period in 2014. And these are statements, percentages that I would have given in my budget presentation emanating from the Division of Tourism and Transportation Research Unit. I also would have indicated that from January to March, international arrivals on our airlines, British Airways, Condor, and Monarch increased by 25.9% 7%, and 7.18% respectively. So I want to reiterate the point that I made. I was speaking specifically to passengers and the number of persons that we have welcomed in terms of passengers, and this would have increased from 2013 from 962,883 persons. So there is an overall increase of about 4.0%. I really wanted to make that clear at this point in time. Our cruise efforts continue. I would have indicated our position for the 2014-2015 period. We're moving from 18,000 in the last cruise ship season to 43,000 in 2014-2015. The Superfast Galaxia was here yesterday, and it provides endless opportunity for Tobago. One, there is increased capacity. Two, there will be daily sailings. And three, we anticipate that there will be a further increase in domestic visitor arrivals.
Could you enlighten me as to the involvement of the Division of Tourism in terms of the monitoring process, so that we can ensure that these relics or even what is the intention with these ships, if there's none at all, who is monitoring, or if we are monitoring at all, if there may be some, let me say, some valuable items or relics that be found that they are not stolen or taken to carry, if you could enlighten us on that.
All right. Well, the project is managed by the Division of Tourism and Transportation in collaboration with the Rockley Bay Project. And the Rockley Bay Project comprising several different universities of Connecticut, so to speak. The intention is to unearth the relics, the archaeological history of the war that was fought between the Dutch and the French, because we see it as significant in terms of course, you know, history and culture goes a long way in terms of attracting persons to your destination. If you pay attention to the Vassar Museum, you will see millions of persons going there just to see the history, the battleships, that kind of thing, from that scenario. So this is what we're hoping to achieve, to bring up those findings and to preserve them, and also to display them for the purposes of heritage tourism and otherwise. A significant part of it is to engage the Division of Education, Youth Affairs and Sport, because we want students to be a part of the experience as much as possible. We are still in the first phase. The first phase is the construction of a conservatory, which is now located on the port. We are now outfitting that. The researchers would have come. They would have done several mapping of the area. They have found very valuable items to date. As a matter of fact, they would have brought up some, but of course they would have had to take them back for a number of different reasons, because they can't stay out of the water too long because of significant deterioration and that kind of thing. And the conservatory is not yet completed, but as soon as that is completed, when they take them out, then it will go through the conservatory process. There is an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, between the division, the Tobago House of Assembly, and also the Rockley Bay Project team, where it spells out what can happen and what will not happen. And one of the things it spells out is that no artifacts whatsoever will be removed out of Tobago. All must stay in Tobago. It's copyrighted to the Tobago House of Assembly, and it cannot be reproduced without permission. So there is a contractual arrangement in place, which is of course enforced by law, and we have a project officer on board who monitors and interacts daily with the Rockley Bay Project team.
Thank you for tuning in to another Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council media briefing for the week ending July 12, 2014.